There was this guy in high school that was really funny, pretty popular, that almost everyone got along with. He didn't bully anyone that I can recall, and it was impossible to not laugh when he was around. He was genuinely a goofy guy, the class clown type. He would say hi to me, try to strike up a conversation, and even compliment me. Being an awkward teenage girl in an extremely cringeworthy emo phase, I was flattered. Wasn't used to getting attention like that, so it was nice to have a guy around school that would randomly say, "You look really cute today." I wasn't interested in him romantically at all, though. He was more of just a funny acquaintance that made me smile every once in a while. He added me on Facebook, like he did with almost all of the kids in his grade and the grade below his, my grade. After a while, he asked me if I wanted to hang out with him after school. I contemplated it, but there was a faint voice in the back of my head saying it probably wasn't a good idea. Nothing really screaming danger, but just something in my gut telling me to be wary. I never took him up on his offers, even if other people would be around. He also asked my best friend to hang out after school, but she never accepted, and we would talk about how weird it was that he would ask us separately to hang out with him after school, since we weren't the type of girls he was known to date. And we both agreed that we just really would rather not. Time passed, life went on, and I completely forgot about the guy. Until about a week ago, when one of my friends shared an article about a bar in the next town over that was under scrutiny for supposedly aiding predators who hunted there, or something to that effect. I can't remember exactly what the article said because I was more confused on something else in the article. That guy I went to school with is in prison for raping 2 women, and that bar was his hunting ground. And word around my hometown is that they weren't his only 2 victims, just the 2 that got justice. This is my first post on Reddit, so forgive me if I'm not very good at telling this story, but I saw this subreddit and knew I had a story to share. About a year ago, I was working as a wage slave cashier at my local Arby's. At the time of my encounter, I had been working there for just about 3 weeks, so I was used to the shit that normally goes down in the lobby of a fast food past 8 p.m. Lots of stoners. However, things would usually stay pretty normal before then, which is why the man that I'm going to talk about struck me as odd. At around 4, I see an old white Ford with a 2x4 in the place of a bumper roll up and park an odd distance from the door in the empty parking lot. No one exits the vehicle. About 15 minutes later, a mom and her presumably 6-year-old little boy enter and start placing their order. Over the mother's shoulder, I see a man get out of the white car. I kind of lose focus on the order at hand as I see this man stumble towards the building. He had half his face covered in a long beard and the other half was clean shaven. He had a greasy mullet and cut-up jean shorts. He was clearly a meth head. As I finish the order I'm taking, I see him sit down in a booth just out of sight of the register, but where I know he can see both exits and the restrooms. Since major alarm bells are already going off, I tell the drive-thru guy about our little creep situation during a lull in the business. Just as I finish relaying all the information to him, I see the little boy run into the bathroom. I turn to my coworker and say, if he gets up, I'm going to clean the bathroom to keep an eye on him. And to no surprise, Medhead gets up and staggers, talking something to himself towards the bathroom. I quickly grab the spray bottle and exit the kitchen and open the bathroom door just after the man. He sees the locked stall the boy is clearly in, and turns around to find me eyeing him in the mirror that I'm cleaning. So he quickly pretends to wash his hands and goes back to his car without ordering. He doesn't leave though. I alert the manager, a rather large but really nice guy, about the situation, and he agrees to call in another employee so that we can put someone out in the lobby at all times to keep an eye on him. Several times throughout the night, from 4 to about 6:30, he followed families in, sometimes sitting in his spot, sometimes ordering something and throwing it away before sitting down. However, the final straw was when he followed another boy into the bathroom. Again, he washed his hands before bolting back to his car. This time, my manager was starting to freak out about our friend, but one of the drive-thru regulars, an off-duty cop, came through. The manager quickly asked him to go talk to the guy and see what was up, and the officer agreed to go check him out. I see the cop's SUV come around in front of the building and park a little away from the Ford. As the officer steps out, I see the Ford's lights turn on and pull away. I think being caught going into the bathroom after a little boy twice tipped this guy off, and he wasn't slick, so he ran at the slightest notion of a confrontation. I'm happy that I was working register that day, because I was always very observant on register. I got used to the druggies, but that guy was the only customer I ever had in my 2 months there that really creeped me out. No one takes me seriously when I tell this story, so I finally decided to post it. I wasn't sure if it belonged here or r/letsnotmeet, and since this is the lesser of the two, in terms of creep, not quality, I decided to post here. The backstory is long, but I swear it's important. A few years ago, I was 17. Just graduated from high school and got my first job at a Christian camp near Yosemite in California over the summer. Mainly the people I work with were great, really sweet Christian college kids. The good kinds. There was one guy though, I'll call him Carl, who I frankly did not like. Carl was tall, handsome, and charming. He had curly golden brown hair and a smile that could stop your heart. His eyes, though, were dead. He never got those little crinkles in the corner of his eyes when he smiled. It was like the top half of his face was just dead. It was like the top half of his face was just dead. There were things I didn't like about Carl right off the bat. His eyes, for one, that dead smile of his. He also never asked for anything. He'd just very softly, very slowly try to manipulate the situation until you almost felt like you owed him. Each time it felt like a part of my brain shut down. Like it slammed the door shut and there was a very clear feeling of, no, this is not right. Save him some food, but do not walk out into the woods to give it to him. Something is wrong. I got along with most of the little cliques at the camp. No one really disliked each other as far as I knew. We just kind of broke off into groups based off what we liked to do in our free time or who we worked with the most. Carl, though, seemed to make friends one-on-one within the clique. By the time he left the group, it was decimated. They were fighting, not speaking, didn't trust each other. I know this isn't a lot of evidence, but I'm trying to paint a picture of a man who just seemed wrong. One day, everyone in the camp decided to go to Fresno. We were tired of camp food and wanted real dinner, maybe see a movie or go bowling. I was off work last. Now, at camp, we had a sign-out sheet. Being so close to Yosemite, we often went hiking, so if left, we had to put our name down along with where we were going. When we left, and we should be expected back. This way, if something happened, they would know when to start looking for us. So I put all my info on the sheet and headed down to the parking lot. My friends had all divided up into their cars. I didn't drive, and I jokingly asked if they forgot about me. They said Carl had said I could ride with him, although I had seen his name signed on the sheet. All the hair on my body stood on end. I was terrified to go in the car with this guy alone. He felt so wrong, so off, just not right. I don't know how else to say it. My friends were telling me I had nothing to be worried about, it would be fine. I saw Carl walking toward the parking lot, that dead smile on his face, and everything in me was screaming not to get in the car. I said that I was tired and wanted to stay in tonight, and Carl laid the charm on thick, telling me what a good night it would be. I owed him because of God knows what, flashing that dead smirk. I refused. He got angry, told me I didn't need to be such a bitch about it. I thought we were friends a lot. I refused. Finally, everyone figured out that I wouldn't be persuaded. I hugged one of my girlfriends goodbye, whispering in her ear not to ride with Carl under any circumstances. When they all left, I walked back to the area with the signed-out sheets to cross my name off, since obviously I wasn't going anywhere. I saw the sheet, saw where my name was, and my heart dropped. My name had already fucking been erased. I have been out of the office for a week due to a nasty bout of bronchitis that utterly wiped me out. And my girlfriend, my poor loving partner who nursed me back to health, had now herself become stuck at home. It was my first day back to work, and feeling bad for her, I decided to try and do something nice for her. She's an avid player of Elder Scrolls Online, you see, which just released a new expansion. And that expansion allowed for a new class, and she had put off getting the expansion in order to focus on picking up the slack from my illness. So I decide I'm gonna go get it for her. I decide on my lunch break to hit the nearby GameStop and get her a digital code. So on my lunch, I head out. Now, here's the thing. The local GameStop and my office are on the opposite sides of a very large hill. Remember, also, I've been sick all week with bronchitis. Now, I get to the GameStop. Okay. Buy the digital code and text her a picture of it along with a message very jokingly telling her she needs to wait till I get home to play because I'll never catch up otherwise. Then I start heading back to the office, and I start walking back up the hill. And this is where the heat and humidity and the fact I'm walking uphill after, once again, having bronchitis, starts to take its toll. And I begin, I'm quite sure very audibly, breathing heavily. I also just happened to be walking the exact path of a woman who had ended up directly in front of me, and I have now been walking behind her for a couple of blocks. Now, two important things about me. First, I'm a tech nerd, so I have the smartwatch, the Bluetooth earbud, whole 9 yards. Second, I'm a big dude, and a 6'2", 240 pounds college athlete who still works out a lot and can probably fuck you up sort of way. I'm a scary looking guy. I'm a goddamn teddy bear who posts pictures of his cat on Reddit and wouldn't hurt a soul. But I am fully aware that in the wrong context, I'm fucking terrifying. So what's the tech nerd relevance here? Smartwatch, Bluetooth. Girlfriend calls me, I tap my watch to pick up the call without taking the phone out of my pocket, which syncs to my Bluetooth earbuds. My girlfriend hears that audible chime on her end and, knowing I've picked up, launches into how she couldn't wait and is already playing without me. And that's when I, quite jokingly, as I'm glad she's feeling up for it, tell her, "Honey, If you don't slow down, I'll never catch up." The woman ahead of me freaks out and whips around, and I immediately realize, holy shit, she thinks I'm talking to her because I'm not holding a phone and I've been following her the last 2 blocks audibly wheezing. And then I realize something else. Remember how I said it was my first day back to work? I still wasn't 100% and I had left my work ID at home. And I work in a very secure government building. The kind of building that doesn't just let you into it. Even if all the security guards know your face because you've been there 10 years now, no ID, you still gotta go get a near cavity search level screen in and wait for the HR to verify that yes, you still work there and no, you're not a disgruntled ex-employee looking to steal confidential files or some shit. But once you've had your morning colonoscopy, they do give you one of those little visitor badges so you can come and go in the building throughout the day without having to have your pride and personal boundaries violated every time. And this little sticky badge that I still had stuck on my chest bears the name of the government agency for which I work. What agency is that? The Department of Mental Health. What agency is that? The Department of Mental Health. Because I, despite looking like someone who may have at one point in his life had a nickname like Moose, led some to initially get the impression I might be a tad slow on the uptake, am actually the Regional Legal Director and a Deputy Chief Counsel for the State Office of Health and Human Services. Her eyes move to the badge. She stays motionless for a moment, then turns and quickly hustles down a side street. It was at that moment I say to my girlfriend, I think some lady just thought I was trying to kidnap her. So here's to you, downtown lady, who I am pretty sure thought I was some heavy-breathing pervert mental patient, instead of a government bureaucrat who was just trying to do something nice for his girlfriend on his lunch break while vastly overestimating his own physical well-being. Let's not meet again. I'm afraid your heart won't take it. Also, I'm sorry. A few years back, I was driving to a party with some friends from my house by myself. They lived about 30 minutes away and it was around 10:30, pitch black. So I'm driving down the road and I see a man on the side of the road with a small white sack. Down the road there is a white car with the door open. As I pull up, I roll down the window and it says his car broke down. His hair is greasy and long, and he looks a lot like the residents of that area, farmers, mechanics, etc. So I picked him up, and he wasn't too much bigger than myself. He was about 35. So I ask him where he's going, and he says in town. Away we go. I started talking, and he's a bit weird, so eventually I stopped bothering to make conversation. Every so often he shifts his position and there is a clatter from the back. He said he needs to arrange a ride when he gets in town and wonders if he can use my phone. I reluctantly give it to him. Brand new iPhone. He calls someone up and starts saying he has some GPS for sale. His bag shifts and I see he has radios in his bag. The broken down looking car he said he owned was a car he had just stolen the radio from, and he's trying to sell them while in my car next to me on my phone. So I say, hey dude, when you're finished with your call, I need my phone back. Cool as a cucumber, I want to make him think I'm really stupid and I'll take him whenever. So we get about 10 minutes away from where I'm going, and I know I have to get rid of him. So I'm like, hey, brother, I need to make a call real quick so I can get in my friend's building. He reluctantly hands the phone back to me and chucks it in the door pocket where he can't get it. So I ask him again since we are in town, where are you going? He says, wherever you are going, you can drop me. I scan him really quick to see if he has a knife. So I slow down and stop when I'm satisfied he doesn't have one and say, "Here you go, my dude. I'm just going up around the corner." He's like, "Nah, man, you can drop me there." So I finally lost my cool, snap over, push his seatbelt button and yell, "This is where I'm dropping you. Get the fuck out." He looks at the pocket where my phone is, then back at my face and says, "Alright, dude, whatever." So I squeal my tires when I pull off, call him a piece of shit, and immediately call the police. Couple days later, I see a piece in the paper saying they caught him and he was wanted for murder. Hi there, thank you for watching. If you wish to see more videos like this, be sure to click on the playlist link down in the description. If you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. If you'd like to get in contact with me and send me your own stories, there's a link to my Discord and email in the description. See you next time.